Hello and good evening, and welcome. You are watching AIL TV as I promised last night. Tonight we have got a very interesting program. We are going to be talking about Pan Africanism and what is it. And in tonight's program, I have got two experienced individuals. One is a princess, and we are talking a princess, a real princess, who happens to be a broadcaster and, of course, a Pan-Africanist. And we have got Mansourou Radji, who is an author and, well, as I said, is also a Pan-Africanist. So I don't have any experience in anything to do with Africanism, although I hear it and I hear people talk about it, but I have never understood it properly. I think tonight it will be the night to be educated, because education does not stop when you leave classes. So, without further ado, I just want to introduce you to our guest. Where is he? Oh, yeah. Okay, so our guest tonight, I know I have messed up something here. So, as I said, meet my guests, Princess Moradeun and Mansourou. So please, can you greet our viewers before we even go into anything?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you might be viewing us from on the face of planet Earth. Hope you're all keeping well and staying safe during this pandemic. Yes, as our brother JJ said, the CEO of AIL TV, I am Her Royal Highness Princess Moradeun Adedin, and Princess is indeed my title. I'm the granddaughter of a Yoruba monarch in the southwestern part of Nigeria, West Africa. Apart from being a broadcast journalist veteran of over 45 years, I am an ardent Pan-Africanist, and therefore, from the palaces of my grandfather, I bring you warm, high African salutes. God bless you all, and I'm sure we'll learn from each other during this discussion. Thank you so much, JJ, for having me as your guest.
And let Mansour, please, can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening to all the viewers. I hope you are keeping safe. Please stay safe, and let us meet after the coronavirus, of course. I am Mansourou Radji. I am not just an author. I am a jurist, a financial consultant, and I am from the Republic of Benin. So, and I share something with Princess as well. I'm a Yoruba, and I can greet the princess by saying Dansakio.
Thank you. And let me tell you something, my brother. My maternal grandmother is from Port Nouveau.
Oh my God. That's my town.
Bonsoir.
That's my town.
Bonsoir.
Comment ça va?
Merci bien. Ça va bien. Vous êtes très gentil, ma frère. Ma française n'est pas bon. No, I think we've lost JJ there.
I do this.
I'm just enjoying, because you see, this is what makes things very interesting. You see, you guys, one part is from Benin, and you are from Nigeria, but if we ignore the correct political correctness, am I right to say that you guys are the same people?
We are.
Yes, we
If
Yeah,
are the
he's
thank
same
you.
people.
if Monsieur Mansour is Yoruba, then he's my brother. And
Thank
apart
you.
from that, as I said, my mother's mother has her roots in Benin Republic, in Port Nouveau.
Let, let me share something with you. A big chunk of Benin population, the entire Benin population, trace their origin back to Nigeria.
Of course, you know, you are our brothers from Odudua, our brothers and
Yes,
sisters from our Odudua lineage. So you are the ones that went with the Onistabe of Isabe, Onukpopo of Popo, Alaketu of
yes,
Ketu. So
exactly.
so
That is correct.
so we are brother and sister, and it's an amazing moment to meet you online. I'm sure we'll
I'm
eventually
so
meet face to face one day
I'm so
after this.
I'm so honored to meet you.
The pleasure is mine, sir. Pleasure is mine. Olodumare ní kàtún you.
Amio. Ami.
As we are warming up, I just want to show you, I want to bring up a map of Africa. And
Okay.
also, this is going to be the basis of our discussion. By the way, I just want to let you know that Princess Deu is actually in the Emirates. So we are here in London in the
You let
freezer.
the cat out of the bag.
Yeah. Yes, she's actually in the Emirates while we are here in the freezer, London. We are freezing. How is the temperature in Emirates, by the way?
Very warm and nice. I
Good.
can't say more than that.
Okay. Now,
Very
I
accommodating.
yeah, this I just want you guys to help me up here. You know, the question tonight is actually this is like an introduction to Africanism or Pan Africanism. Sorry,
Pan
I keep saying
Africanism.
Africanism, Pan Africanism. When you look at this map here, the whole of Africa, I am sure there are very few people in Africa, or just for that matter in the diaspora, who understand the word Pan Africanism or Pan African. So, what is really Pan African? So let me start with Princess Deu because you are the master in this. I
No,
know.
I'm not. I'm also. We're all students, as I said in my flyer, the flyer post. My late dad always says, in life, there's something new to learn at every turn. So we're all learning. We are learning from each other. I'm sure we're learning from our viewers as well, who will probably be commenting. So pan, the word pan, you know, like we have now, we're all in the pandemic, which means global. So Pan-Africanism, it's short and simple, just means people of African descent, irrespective of where they are situated in the four corners of the earth. In other words, you don't have to be situated or domiciled on the continent itself. Once you are of African descent, you can trace your roots to Africa. It doesn't matter whether you're in Ecuador, whether you are in Japan, the UK, in the Emirates, wherever you might be, you are part of that African enclave, the African descent. So you are part of the Pan-African family, the wider African family. So the African family in the diaspora, those who were forcefully taken away from the continent and those who decided to move or relocate from the continent to other parts of the world. That is what Pan-Africa is. Pan-Africanism now is where the activists take over. And I think I'm going to hand that over to my brother Mansour, since he's the prolific writer here, to shed more light on Pan-Africanism. And I'll also add my own thoughts as well.
Over to you,
Yes.
Mr. Mansourou.
Thank you, Princess. Thank you very much. I totally accept the definition you gave. I will add, and this is very crucial. Because when we talk about Pan-Africanism, it is not just a notion, it is a drive, that bind us, and that push all the African descent, like you mentioned, to act in the interest of Africa. It is very crucial. This is very important. You can be an African and sit idle when things are going wrong. You are still an African, But what defines an African to a Pan-Africanist is because the latter, by all means, make sure everything, all his action, are driven by the interests of the mother continent. Yeah.
Absolutely, you're so correct, my brother. Pan-Africanism is the activism part, where people who are active in seeing the betterment of not only the African continent itself, but also every person that is the descendant of Africa. And that is why we have our founding father, the Honorable Dr. Mosiah Marcus Garvey, who is known as the father of Pan-Africanism. He was the one that carried the torch, yes, and decided that we're not just going to sit back, because his own era was post-slavery. So there was, and that is his photograph there. Freedom had come to those who had been captured as slaves. They were setting up business, they were studying, they were, inventing, doing really, really great stuff. But they were still, oppressed, especially those who were in the diaspora. So those in the Americas, in the Caribbean, in some parts of Europe, UK, they were still being treated as second-class citizens. They were still being treated as if they were even worse than animals. And therefore, God, in his infinite mercies and infinite wisdom, put that thought and that mindset into the mind of Dr. Mosiah Marcus Garvey. And he was the one that started that movement, the Pan-African movement, calling on all peoples of African descent. And there's even something that he wrote, because like yourself, he was a great author, he was a prolific writer, and there was something he wrote, and I would also share that with us as we go on with the program, not to bore us from the beginning. But he was one that started gingering people, gingering their spirits, awakening their mindset, pointing them in the right direction and saying, you need to go from whence you came, go to the place where the sun rises and the sun sets. Go back to Africa. That was his dream. And that's when he also had the Black Star Liner, that ship that he bought, spent so much money, and he was offering all people of African descent a space on the ship, that if we all go to Africa, at least, even if there's going to be a fight or disagreement, it will be with your fellow African, whereby you can communicate and talk and discuss and find a way to resolve matters, not staying in a place where we're going to be continually oppressed, treated as second and third class citizens. We will have real freedom. We'll walk on a soil that is free. So we'll be stepping on freedom. We will embrace and breathe in the air of freedom, because there's nothing that any human being wants more than freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom of thought, within reason. I always say that even the Creator, in his wisdom, when he created mankind, according to the various, religions, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, Judaism, even the traditional African, belief system, it is believed that God gave, or the Creator gave, every human being something. What's it called? Free will. So even though we have this Creator who is the one that enables us to have life, he's also the one that can tell us, okay, your time is over, it's time to come back. But whilst we're here, he gave us free will. In other words, your ability to choose what you want to do. and to live the way you want to live. So for some bunch of other human beings to decide to take your free will from you, that's when slavery came in, colonization came in, oppression came in. And therefore, what Dr. Marcus Garvey and his other Pan-Africanists were fighting for was the freedom of the African. And I'll hand over to my brother there.
Yeah. Now, let me ask this question. You know, as how you have articulated everything properly, but
Yes, sir.
it seems that many people do not understand this concept, because when you look at how the Pan-African movement, how it the time it's been around for over 100 years. But do you really think that was it is Pan-Africanism or Pan-African movement, is it really understood by the people which is supposed to be actually directed to? I just want to Mansourou just to answer a little bit. Then I will go back to Princess.
You know, with the new technology, I could say that Pan-Africanism is getting a better recognition now than before. Because what happened is, before, you have some of our own African, our brothers and our sisters. I'm sure in our life, in my life, I've heard a lot of people say Africa will never develop, for instance. Africa will never develop. That continent is full of corrupt people. And you heard a lot of this negative attitude toward the mother continent. Well, I will just give you one example to back up my view. You know, it took just one man, one person, just one individual in Rwanda to put a stop to everything that was going wrong. I mean, His Excellency Paul Kagame. It took just one individual to say, no Rwanda will kill another Rwanda under my watch. This has to stop. And we've seen what Rwanda is today, you know? So I believe with the new technology, Pan-Africanism is getting a better recognition than before. Yeah.
It wasn't for new technology. Let me repeat this again. If it wasn't for modern technology, how do you think that Pan-African movement should be? Or is it really for Africans, or is it for the people of black or for African origin? Because I know, Princess Deu, you have actually mentioned it, but I just want to hear it again. Who is it for?
It's, as the word says, Pan-Africa. Just like we have, again, sorry to use this as an example, pandemic, which means global. Yes. So Pan-Africa is all Africans, irrespective of where you are on the face of planet Earth. If your bloodline can be traced to Africa, you are a Pan-African. If you take on the mantle of activism, then you are a Pan-Africanist. In other words, you've decided to not just sit down with your Pan-African title, but you have decided to stand up and be active about it. Just like my brother shared earlier, doing something, actively ensuring that the rights of the African is preserved and the rights of all Pan-Africans are preserved wherever they are on the face of the planet. But as we also mentioned, some people, whatever it is, whatever movement, whatever cause, there's always one or two people that will be the brains behind it. Some people will start it, just like a political party. It will be the idea of one or two people, maybe more, to group of people will start it, and then they will put action into it. There will be affirmative action, and therefore they start doing things according to whatever their mission and their vision. They'll have all those things written down. They would have discussed, they would have deliberated over it, they would have thought of those things that are very pertinent for their existence and for the existence of the generation coming. Because all this activism about Pan-Africa is not just about us that were alive. If those before us didn't do what they did, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, the likes of Emperor Haile Selassie, the list goes on. Some people did their Pan-Africanist activism through political notions, and some used writings, like our brother here. Some became brilliant authors and they wrote about things, and they became ideologists. Some turned theirs into music, and they would sing songs and write lyrics that are powerful, and they will send messages. We have people like Miriam Makeba. There's so many of them. Fela Ransom Kuti, or Nicola Kuti, as he was then known for many years before he died. We have the reggae artists. Most of the reggae artists in the Caribbean are very Pan-African driven in their thinking. We have artists in South Africa. There's so many. Lucky Dube, so many artists. We have in East Africa as well, whereby they sing, they chant, things that will, and there's something about when something's repetitive, if you hear it over and over and over again, it'll sink into your psyche. You'll be able to know and understand who you are and what you are and where you stand on this place and space called Earth, because everybody has a right. When it comes to the African continent itself, we had real amazing people who did so much. They were more or less, they were like proteges of Dr. Marcus Garvey, the father of Pan-Africanism. So he also gave birth to more fathers and mothers. We have Funlayo Ransom Kuti of Nigeria, Jomo Kenyatta, the later Madiba, President Nelson Mandela, his wife, Mrs. Mandela, the first wife. So there's so many people that have used their positions or used their gifts and their influence to put the message out there, about Pan-Africanism. My grandfather, the king, was a great Pan-Africanist, is what I heard from our dad. My father was also very much into Pan-Africanism, and we used to have loads of talks, and he actually gingered, that in me. And when I started growing up and I started attending the shrine in Nigeria, that's the place where Fela Kuti played, I became a member of the Young African Pioneers, which he called YAF back in the day, in the 70s. I used to go with my cousins to the shrine. The shrine was supposed to be a no-go area. But later on, I realized that the reason why places like Fela's shrine was labeled a no-go area was because the government didn't want us, especially young people, to go and learn, to go and understand and hear the ideologies of being a Pan-African. Throughout Fela Kuti's life, for instance, you will never hear him call or refer to himself as a Nigerian or as a Yoruba man. He would always say, I'm an African man original. He always called himself that. Same thing with people like Miriam Makeba. I had the honor to know her and to have her as an adopted mom. She always referred to herself as an African. So when we have a full understanding of the message behind the ideology of Pan-Africanism, we'll begin to get the right thing. We'll begin to understand exactly what these great fathers and mothers of Pan-Africanism wanted us to embrace. And we mustn't forget our brothers and our sisters across the oceans. So those in the Caribbean, those in Latin America, South America, those, in Mexico, those who found themselves in some other far-flung places that we never even knew that Africans were there. We started to discover, when we look into indigenous people of the world, they're actually Africans in India. Did you know that? When I discovered that a few years ago, I was like, wow. And when you see them, they look like us. They look like us. Pinky hair, brown skin, melanin popping. So all these people need a sense of belonging. There's nothing as powerful as identity. Your identity is who you are. And I'm sure we saw that message ring through very clearly in the movie Black Panther. It was all about identity. I think I'll stop here and let my brother take over.
Yeah.
Mr.
But
JJ?
before he takes over, I've got this very
Yes.
simple question that very short. Do you think? Well, you see the names you have mentioned. All these people, they knew they were Africans. They were fighting for Africans, for African cause. Everything, it's just Africa was built into them. But it appears to me, these days, the idea of Pan-Africanist or being a Pan-Africanist or to this idea of Pan-Africanism, is it because now we are gravitating to the West, or we want to be westernized, more westernized as Africans? So, Mansour, please.
Well, I don't think we are being influenced. Well, we've been influenced by the West, absolutely. But the idea of Pan-Africanism is, it is our, like Princess said, identity is powerful. Identity is seriously powerful. And when you mention Pan-Africanism, if there is a pantheon for Pan-Africanism, obviously you have Marcus Garvey. And then in Africa, you have three movements, starting with Gamal Abdel Nasser in Egypt, with the Nona line. And then you come down to West Africa, you have Kwame Nkrumah. And you go to East Africa, you start with Mwalimu
in Tanzania.
Jomo Kenyatta, where Mwalimu, the Julius Nyerere, then plus Jomo Kenyatta. So you have these three movements combined. All of them, for me, will stand up there in the African pantheon for Pan-Africanists. Then, before that, you have some, like Princess mentioned it, your great grandfather was a Pan-Africanist. We have a king in Benin called Behanzin. Everybody knows him.
Yes,
fought
very famous king.
Very famous king. Actually, he made sure Benin names is up there at the international. He fought the French tooth and nail throughout his life. We could say he was a Pan-Africanist as well. And you have Samori Touré. If you remember Samori Touré, he fought colonialism as well. Those are the great king of Africa. And I think there is a reversal now. Before, we've been so much influenced by the West. Now there's a reversal. We're turning back to the mother continent now.
Absolutely.
Yesterday,
I would also, I wanted to actually add something very quickly, because your question was that what happened to, the works of all those great, Pan-Africanists that we named. We've named the Africans, those that were Africans, but we mustn't forget that Pan-Africanism was actually birthed by Dr. Marcus Garvey, who was a descendant of a slave in the Caribbean, and then he went to live in the US. So he wasn't even on the African continent. But you see, he had that, it was in his DNA. When we're talking about identity, he identified so powerfully with Africa. And then what happened to the zeal and the quest of those great Pan-Africanists that we had? We had people like, Du Bois. Some of them went to Africa to live. some people were so drawn to that dream of having a link with Africa, just to blend with Africa, to blend with where they are from. Some actually left the West, left the West Indies, and went to live in some of the African countries. Some went to Ghana, some went to South Africa. When we had Festac in Nigeria, quite a number of them stayed behind, and are probably still living there till now. Well, I think what's happened when we think of, when we examine JJ's question, is there's probably lack of adequate information now. And that's why Mr. Mansourou was very right when he said, thankfully, we now have the use of modern technology. Because before, we used to have a lot of books that we could go to libraries to buy, in shops, that we could, just read up about these things. But after a while, it seems that passing on of the knowledge waned a bit. People in Africa got more interested in their own local politics and kind of drifted away from the main dream and the main focus and the main ideology of Pan Africanism. So it doesn't matter whether we have these different countries that the West cut up. Don't forget that we're not the ones that cut ourselves up. They cut Africa up into all those various countries. Before, Africa was made up of empires. And under those empires, we had kingdoms. And most of the kingdoms, they interacted with each other. We had our kings who interacted with each other. They knew each other. They traded with each other. They intermarried sometimes. So we had our own ways. We had our own means of doing things. So I believe that what we need to do now, especially for the younger generation, and thanks again to modern technology, the internet, etc., to keep putting that information out there about what one of the sayings of Dr. Marcus Garvey, when he said, "Up, up, you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. I repeat that God created you masters of your own destiny, masters of your own fate, and you can pay no higher tribute to your divine master than function as a man or woman as he created you. A people without knowledge of their past and history is like a tree without roots." And I always add, they will surely die. If a tree has no roots, it's going to die. So we cannot, we will not die, and we must not die. So it's a case of Africa for the Africans, just as Dr. Mosiah Marcus Garvey said.
So this is just another question again. I know this question, it might sound as if it is trivial. Last night I was discussing the issues of why Africans we are not aware. Like say for example, you have got issues going on in Cameroon. You've got problems happening in Nigeria. You have got
Nigeria.
yes. Now you have got even the more catastrophic one. No, well, all issues actually are the same. Now we have got Ethiopia. Now, why I'm asking this and why I'm saying that this question might sound as if it is trivial. Right now, when you ask, many Africans do not even know what is actually going on. Everyone is actually thinking it looks like we are again locked into our own selves and or maybe colomenta, mentality that lockdown, as Fela Kuti put it. You see, if something happens in the streets of Paris, many Africans, they will wear French flags. They will put stuff on social media saying, we are crying with Ethiopia. No, we are crying with France. But cannot cry with Nigeria. They cannot cry with Ethiopia. Why do you think that is? Mansour.
Um, yeah, you know, this is a very interesting question, actually. And you see, we tend in Africa to look to what is happening somewhere else instead of looking in our own backyard. And this is very dangerous. I will give you an example to back up what you just said. The former president of Benin, the president Boni Yayi, if I believe you recall the sad event of Charlie Hebdo. We all know what happened at Charlie Hebdo, where some journalists were gunned down, and all the francophone, not all, thank God, not all, but many francophone presidents went to Paris. You know what? The issue I'm going to say now may be controversial to some, but as a Benin national, I felt ashamed that my president, President Yayi Boni, went to Paris and started crying on the street of Paris. You know, it's so shameful. Yet, you have plenty of problem back in Benin. Like you mentioned, we have problem in Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa. We have our own problem, but yet our president can fly to Paris, show, it's good to show, you know, empathy or, yeah, because there are some loss of life, but we do have our own problem. I was really ashamed when the president went to Paris and was crying. In addition to him, you have the president of Senegal, His Excellency Macky Sall. He was there as well. Yet Senegal has plenty of problems he's yet to solve. You know, it is at the the highest of our in the political spectrum. We tend, especially the francophone. You know, I'm not mentioning the anglophone country, but the francophone country. You know, anything happen in Paris or in the Western world, they are the first to send message or even fly there and empathize. You know, sadly, with this event you just mentioned, JJ, a journalist was punished because that journalist, his name is Sunuvo. When the president came back, he told the president, actually, it would be good if we look inside Benin and see what is going on. But for that, he was put off air for many years. Yeah.
Why I am just saying maybe are we locked into the colonial mentality? What is it, Princess?
You know, sometimes, thank you so much, JJ. And thank you, Brother Mansour, for your very informative input there. I believe it's about time we stopped blaming the colonials for everything. You know, yes, there was a part they played, there was a role they played, agreed. But you know what? Now I believe we're old enough to wipe our noses and clean our own backsides. You know, we don't need to keep blaming Uncle Tom for everything. You know, even if the colonials or the Western world want to do what they want to do, you know why? They're looking out for themselves. I always say nobody's going to tell the story of a place or a people except the main actors. You must have sat where they sat, felt their pain, understand their struggles, celebrated their wins, you know, applauded their achievements, feel where the shoe pinches their foot. That is only when you can feel what they feel and you can think within the box as part of them. So my take on this is that we are the architects, you know, of our own future. What has happened in the past has happened. I will never say we must forget it, because forgetting it is being stupid. That's very foolhardy. You don't forget, but you move on and you make referrals to it so that you remind yourself of where you're coming from, where your ancestors are coming from, so that whatever mistakes were made in the past, you try so hard to avoid a repetition of such mistakes. Sadly, whether we like it or not, when it comes to education, we're all Western educated. You, me, JJ, we all went to, even in our countries, we went to schools that were taught in the languages of the colonials. You know, we forgot that, you know, we could also, after the colonials had gone and we'd gotten independence, to me, it seems as if, yes, we are independent, but we are still dependent on the colonial masters. And that will not help us in any way. When we look at the world, when we look at, you know, intellectual property, we look at inventors, innovators, exceptionally creative people, my God, you'll see a long list of people of African descent in all industries, all, from science to arts to technology to music, what have you. We are there. A very good example is even America. It is known that the highest degree holders, the most educated people, are not just people of African descent. They are people from Africa, and the highest number are Nigerians. So that's for a start. When we look at Mr. Biden, President Biden's cabinet, he's chosen a handful of Africans, not African Americans. He has some African Americans, but people who are actually Africans who were either born in the US or they went to the US to study. If there wasn't something about them, I don't think he'd waste his time to put those people on his cabinet or make them advisors, or, you know, just have them as part of his team. We ourselves are the ones that need to look inwards and know the essence of what we have and who we are and the weight that we carry. I think over the years, we've kind of lost that. So it's a time for us now to go back. You know, I always say what we've lost is like a jacket. It's like a bodysuit. And we either we took it off or it was taken off from us somewhere in the past. We need to walk backwards. In fact, I take that back. Strike it. We need to dance backwards, beating our African drums to those dance steps, back to where those bodysuits of self-confidence, of self-reliance, of hope, you know, that jacket that we have, which shows that we are indeed an upright people, a people of great common sense, a people of intelligence. We have to dance backwards there. And when I say with the African drum beats, because we need that spirit, that African spirit, to ginger us to go back, pick up our bodysuit, wear it again, zip it up, shake our shoulders, and now focus and start afresh. Those things that we forgot will begin to come back. And as we have it come back, we also share with our fellow Africans, and we pass on the baton to the younger generation. The younger generation needs to know and needs to understand. There's so many things that the generation, you know, we call them the millennials, they don't know. Some of them don't even know that Africa is a continent. They think it's a country.
Okay.
Let me stop there for now.
No. I know you can go on for 6 months. If
Let me stop
now,
there for now.
you know, as you are talking, I'm just thinking. You know, for the last 15 years or so, I have been being more of an African than anything, although I don't show it. But what I'm thinking, so now I have got two intelligent people here. We need a group of you guys, and we need maybe to come up with an education program. You see, we understand that technology is actually thinking for us now, because I know I'm just beginning okay, I'm just beginning to see that technology is taking over, is convincing a lot of people that without modern technology you can't do anything. Well, I'm just saying no, that is not true, because our forefathers, they had ideas, full of ideas in their heads, and they did things. And you, and as a princess, as you have just put it, we have now to think. We have to put our thinking cap on and go back and see what our forefathers did. But here now we are in the modern world. We can say, okay, now we are in a better position. We have got technology. But let us now educate you about what it used to be using our modern technology. Look, you are far, far away, but now you're having a conversation. Do you think, what is the, do you think the youth, as you have put it, that there is a group of them who are actually into Africanism? So
Oh, absolutely.
so what is the best way to put a group of academics, broadcasters like yourself, like Mansour, author, just to have a weekly lecture? Because I have been wanting to do this thing for a long time. I just want to create something similar to TED, but this actually is going to be called AIL Talks. And when the pandemic goes away, I want to find a way whereby we can design nice studios and stuff like this. Let every individual come and talk about Africa, what they know, whether it is agriculture, whether it is anything. I know we can still do it now. But so maybe with your help, because Princess, you are a broadcaster. You have met whole lots of people. Nobody can tell you nothing. So
Oh, I know people. I still learn every day. Trust me,
right.
everybody learns.
So
But my response to that would be, you've forgotten that we have the new Pan African movement, which has been going on now since I think 2009. We also have a Facebook page. So there are loads of people there, and I'm very happy to, you're also a member, so I'm very happy to have you use that platform to reach out to people who are very keen Pan-Africanists and who are interested or who will be interested in what you're proposing. I believe it's a fantastic idea. I believe there's no better time than now. Now is the time, and I believe it can be done, and it will be done. It sounds like a plan, and I'm sure my brother's going to agree with
well,
me as
the thing
well.
is, he will come in. He will
Yes.
come in. You see, the thing is that Princess, I follow you every day on social media. Believe me. I might not respond, but I'm always just checking. I'm just saying, man, this woman has done a whole lot of things. In fact, I have filmed you. I have got videos of you organizing the women coming. Yes, I have. So, and every day I am dreaming. What is exactly lacking? How is it? Because I know one thing is funding. We don't have the funding. But now I have also realized that the funding system, some part of it is designed to slow us down. Because you put in an application, they tell you, well, for this time, we regret to tell you your application is not being, maybe put in another time. Then you put in another time. By the time you blink, is 2 years the line. You are just still chasing funding. I think now it is. I have got this idea of a £1 campaign, and Princess, you are the person actually to lead it. The idea of talking, we need to eliminate that. We want to move forward. £1 every month. Get all the women that you can so that we can do the things that you want to do. So, Mansour, what do you think?
I believe that is a brilliant idea. And, this movement of Pan Africanism, I believe it's gaining momentum now. On the next 18th of February, are you aware there's going to be the Africa Digital Finance Summit? And this is going to be on the African soil in Nairobi. So everybody knows with the influence of internet, Africa with the digitalization of finance, Africa needed to catch up.
The cryptocurrency, the blockchain is all happening.
Thank you. So,
and East Africa
this
are
is
very
happening.
good.
Africa is gaining momentum. All we need to do is to push the movement. And I believe what JJ suggested is a brilliant idea. So, Princess, I believe you have a big role to play here.
both of you have put this on my neck. Okay. I believe the good Lord will give me the ability
Well,
to do
the thing
what it
is,
is that we need to do.
there is.
But also, one thing, my brothers, one thing you've forgotten is on the 1st of January 2021, Africa opened all its borders to international trade. So Africa is really like a bride. It's like a bride to be, a bride in waiting with many suitors. So it's up to that bride to know how she's going to package herself so that she attracts the right kind of suitors, not those who are going to come in to use her or rape her or cheat her, or trick her, if I can put it that way. So that's also something we need to think about. Africa is probably still the one continent that still has a lot of things intact when it comes to how close we are to nature. We haven't been industrialized like other parts of the world. We're still very close to nature. We still have our farm to table in majority of the countries in Africa, and we know that we're an agro-allied nation. So we're farmers, very brilliant farmers. And from being farmers, we can also find the most brilliant scientists, all in this continent called Africa. So we have more than enough people, more than enough brains. We have a lot of thought leaders. We have a lot of great minds, who can make things happen. But again, it takes one person to just kickstart it. And I believe, JJ, that's what you've done tonight. You put it out there, the universe has heard, and I'm sure the universe will respond to you positively.
What my dream is very simple. Is just to see people of African origin or Africans actually speaking and thinking like as if they are one. Regardless,
just like the Jews, just like the Jews, just like the Indians, just like the Chinese.
Yes, and it is very good. It is very good that you have mentioned the 1st of January. I think the African Union, of course, they opened up this Africa intra-trade. Very good idea. But my worry is that Africans, we are very good at coming up with slogans. Now, now those slogans, to follow them is another challenge. But you see, next time then when we meet up, actually, we are going to talk about the economics of Africa, because tonight we are just talking about Pan-Africanism, and that's it. That's a very good idea. They have come up with that idea. Very, very, very good. But we have got so many challenges. But at least it shows that we are moving. Now, going back, okay, we have got how many minutes? We have got only 5 minutes. If is Princess, I'm just, you know what? I am just going to have to assign you another task, as I have suggested.
Oh, my goodness.
No, listen to me. Listen to this. because you can talk. You know there is talking, but also there is speaking. But also you can speak intelligently that I'm sure many people will pay attention to you. This is what I think we need to start realizing as to how Malaysia treasure human resources. Malaysia don't have mineral resources. They don't have anything. But the president of Malaysia, I believe, every month collects all his ministers and says, well, look, you know what? I want to know who is handling agriculture. I want to know who is handling engineering. Go out there and find more of you, like you. So we want people like you guys here. The guy who can write. I know Mansourou is written a book about ECOWAS, which will come. That will be again in another discussion. So just 2 minutes of each. I just want you to summarize of where do you see Pan-African or Pan-Africanism going in the 21st century? I'm starting with Princess.
Thank you so much. Well, Pan-Africanism is a way of life, is a mindset, is a state of being, is who you are, and therefore it's your identity. So the way forward for Pan-Africanism is to have oneness of spirit, oneness of thoughts, oneness of mindset for people of African descent. The past years, most especially the past few years, have shown us as Africans that we're not really wanted per se in the West. And therefore we need to ensure that we begin to gravitate towards things that are of African values, things that would showcase and build Africa. We need to start looking into community development and nation building. And as I said earlier, we don't have to be on the continent of Africa geographically to contribute to the building of our nations and our continent, or to contribute to building our communities, because our communities are all over the place, wherever you are, and you're able to magnetize other fellow Pan-Africans. That is your community. Come together, build it, love each other. One of the greatest gifts that God has given us is the gift of love. I believe once we can genuinely love each other, look out for each other, care for each other, and then ensure that we pass the baton on to the next generation. Because the challenge that the younger generation have is that they don't have information. So they're either uninformed or misinformed. So we need to ensure that they are well informed and adequately, correctly informed about who they are and what they stand for. And with that, I'm sure the future of Pan-Africa is bright, beautiful, and awesome. Thank you so much.
Over to you, Mansour.
Yes, to add to what Princess said, Pan-Africanism actually, it should be a mindset, our identity. It should be engraved in our DNA actually. Because if you look at Africa, we still have a long way to go. A long way. But personally, I believe and figures show that Africa is on the rise. But this rise has to be for Pan-Africanism to really evolve. This rise, Africa needs to be economically, politically, and socially, we need to be more inclusive. The way Africa is at the moment is very questionable. Some are left behind, and that will create a problem. For Pan-Africanism to really move forward, it has to carry a lot of people, many people, most of Africa, if not everybody, And for that, we need to, there has to be some community development, like Princess said earlier, but also think about the national interest, the interest of Africa. You see, the French, they always say something. You might hate them or like them. They always mention that when it comes to France, France has no friend. France only have interest. Africa should behave like that. If we don't have our interest, we don't want to collaborate with you. It's as simple as that, you know. But that will not make us less African or more African. It's just because the mother continent need son and daughter to make sure that our interests are preserved. Thank you very much.
We can't hear you, JJ.
Okay.
I'll be back. You see, I have muted myself. Sorry. As I was saying, this has been a very interesting discussion. And mind you, I called Princess Deu last night. Said, well, look, I want to do this. And also I called Mansourou to last night. That's when we were talking. I said, no, look, we are going to talk about Pan Africanism. And also, because I knew, I trust you guys, you are not guessing. You have been there. You are in the movement. So that's why I can even just switch off myself and let you talk. I can even just change pictures. So, but also, I want to thank the viewers who have been watching with us. We want to let you know that every day, I have decided that every day, every evening, we will be talking about Africa. Now, these guys, they have convinced me to be a Pan-Africanist, and also I'm going to join the Pan-African movements. Well, movement, but I will choose which one to join, because there are so many out there flying about. Everyone is talking about Pan-Africanism. I think they use this word when it suits them. But it is not that they want actually, they mean it. You know, it is when danger starts somewhere, maybe someone is invaded someone, that's where you hear Pan-Africanism. But you do not hear when young children are abducted in Nigeria. We only see Nigerians alone on the streets fighting. We should actually be fighting together. You see, in Cameroon, when you have got a school invaded and they killed about 100 children, nobody pays attention apart from the Cameroonians. Now, I think that one really, we need now to up our game. And this is why we will keep complaining that, oh yeah, you know, somebody else is trying to stop us from what we want to do. No, we are stopping ourselves. If we would speak as one, I don't think anyone else really would come and play games with us. You know,
with us.
Absolutely.
the games they have played it for 400 years. I think we should be aware that we know exactly what games they played. We know the games they played. Our countries are divided. Benin, you have got a Yoruba in Benin, you have got a Yoruba in Nigeria. What is that? And then someone else goes to speak French.
So as I explained before, we had empires before the colonials came. So my brother and I belong to the same empire, different kingdoms, but same empire, and we had that common Yoruba nation. But you know, they came, cut us up, they took him to Benin Republic, he speaks French. They took me to Nigeria, where we speak English. So, you know, but our Yoruba,
you see, that's why, sorry, quickly,
identity.
That's why, you know, the current situation between Nigeria and Benin at the moment, you know, I was about to, I'm writing an article, and I'm gonna label it Nigeria should stop the bully, because whatever happened, Benin is still the little brother. The closure of the border between Benin and Nigeria is an issue, and only dialogue can solve that. The closure of the border between Benin and Benin and Nigeria, it is an issue.
You are not the one. I don't. It's a bigger picture, because when we talk about the two countries, don't forget that we have different kingdoms again. So the Yorubas cannot bully themselves. We Yoruba nation, we cannot bully our Yoruba brothers and sisters. That's not possible. So I think we all have a common bully.
you know what is very interesting. I was watching. What is very interesting, I was watching Dangote and Mo Ibrahim. Now Dangote, Dangote was saying that he has got an issue with Benin because it is only 25 miles away from where his cement factory is, but he cannot actually sell his cement to Benin. The Benin government, they would prefer to import cement from China. So I rest my case. So
actually, JJ, that is not accurate. Because the president of Benin, Mr. President Talon, he justified himself. He mentioned clearly that actually our own factory, Benin own cement factory, are full. They overproduce, and we need to make sure we sell those cement before we can allow Nigerian cement in. They won't justify himself.
Okay. Now we will have that
in defense
conversation.
Of my president, in defense of Talon.
Yes. We will have that conversation when we look into the economics and the politics in Africa. So thank you, Princess, and thank you, Mansour. Now, this is, has been, yes, as you can see, this conversation has been very, very vitalizing, because now you see this is how we need to have discussion. We have got a guy from Benin, we have got someone from Nigeria, but when they are discussing these issues, they are smiling. They are not saying, well, you are from Benin, therefore I will treat you otherwise. But then again, Princess, as she puts it, that if you've got Yorubas in Benin, and you have got Yorubas in Nigeria, so that the issue of bullying, that won't exist, and it can't happen. So on that note, tomorrow we have got a business show. We've decided that every day we have to have something going on. So if you have got an idea and you want actually to get in touch with us, you are welcome. We are here. Now we want really to make Africa great again. We know it is great. We don't want to use these slogans that are coming from America. We know Africa is great, but now we want actually to take it to higher heights. Thank you, and until tomorrow. Business show tomorrow. Thank you.